Hi, everybody. It's Dr. John Callahan. And last week I made a video about knowing your five to keep you alive. And we're going to be talking individually about each of those five components that we talked about last week. This week we're going to be talking about the muscle to fat ratio. That was number one of the five. As a business person and running a small business here in New York, uh, this is true, I think, no matter what type of business you're in. I've heard it said, if you don't know your numbers, then you don't know your business. And I think the same is true with our health. If we don't know our numbers with regard to our health, sometimes we're flying blind with regard to our health. And it's not the enemy that you know that's coming for you. It's the enemy that you may not be aware of that's the most dangerous to you and your health. So, that said, let's talk about the muscle to fat ratio, number one. So, body composition is a lot different than just weight. In our country, we have a fascination with weight and body mass index, the BMI, but body composition is not BMI. And BMI doesn't really tell us a whole lot until the number gets over 30, at which point a person's considered obese according to those numbers. And of course, if you're over 30, then you have an increased risk of heart disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes. That becomes a much bigger factor. But other than that, weight doesn't really tell us much about how healthy you are, in the sense, if you trust the scale, you'll fail, but if you trust the mirror, it becomes clear. So, body composition is more about the quality of your weight as opposed to the quantity. It tells us how much muscle in pounds as a percentage of your overall weight you have compared to the fat in your body. Muscle takes a third less volume and it burns 5 times more calories at rest. It's so important to our health and proper function. It's having muscle maintains balance and strength, increases our basal metabolic rate, it helps regulate thyroid function, our blood sugar, it just makes us look better overall. Um, Muscle is one of the most important tissues not to lose as we age. The statistic I've read says 50%, or excuse me, after age 50, people lose on average 3 to 5% of their muscle mass each decade after the age of 50. But we can do something about it. I read a study summary of a meta analysis, which is an accumulation of studies over time. This reviewed 49 studies of men ages 50 to 83 who did resistance training and found that those subjects averaged a 2.4-pound increase in muscle mass. So now let's talk about fat. Even saying the word fat doesn't sound good, because we have to, confront the reality of our situation. If you're carrying too much fat, especially visceral fat or belly fat, you're in trouble. The fat that accumulates in your midsection is a hormone and a cytokine producing machine. And just as a sidelight, the COVID-19, when people have the severe reactions with breathing, that's due to cytokines. In fact, belly fat produces 17 hormones and cytokines, and those can interfere with our health. One of the examples I've seen is that one of the things that fat will produce is estrogen and inflammatory chemicals. These are carried in the belly in the midsection, and you see young boys and men that develop, they're called moobs, man boobs. It's because of the estrogen, and that's not natural. It's due to the extra fat that we're carrying sometimes. So, in order to measure this biomarker of muscle mass versus fat ratio, we use a machine called bioimpedance analysis. And what that does is that breaks down the muscle mass in the body in terms of weight and percentage, and it does the same thing for fat. And like I said, the biggest thing with that is if the fat's in the midsection, you're in trouble in terms of your health. So that's number one. Next week, we're going to look at blood pressure and resting pulse. So if you guys are interested in learning more of this, stay tuned. Next week, we'll be going over one of these 5 each week. And please feel free to share this information. This is really important information, especially in this day and age of COVID-19, and we want to be as healthy as we can, so that when we do get exposed, and undoubtedly we're all going to be exposed sooner or later, most likely, to this virus. The healthier we are, the better opportunity we have for our body to fight it off, no matter our age or what's going on in our lives. So I thank you for your time, and we'll be talking to you later. Thanks.